So I'm Danielle Albertyn, and I go by Milo Wildcat. It's my nickname since like forever. And I'm originally from Pretoria, but I live in Cape Town now.
Hi, I'm Raal de Wet. I'm not actually exhibiting here today, but I'm from Cape Town as well. I've worked in the movie industry as a storyboard artist and concept designer for quite some time. And I'm here to support Danielle and help her through the con.
So your question, what's been the biggest influences for your style artists or publications that affected your style that you use your work?
So for me, it's always been animation. I've loved animation since like yay big. And so I think the starting kind of point for me was Bruce Timm, who did the 90s versions of Batman and Superman, and I still really love his style. And as I've gotten older, my art's been more and more influenced through anime and a lot of the other kind of much more toony styles from the West as well. That's always been my personal influence.
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of influences actually. Back in the day, it was Jim Lee that kind of got me back into comic books, and then Jay Lee that made me realize like just how comic books can actually be art. The influences from there just has not stopped. I'm always discovering new people that I admire. My personal style, I always try to find the balance between sort of realism and the cartoony kind of side of it, and find that middle ground where everything just works together, which is not always the easiest thing. But also, yes, animation, all kinds of illustrators, comic book artists, American superhero comics, European comics, which are incredible, and movies, and the inspiration actually
It's a little bit of everything.
It comes from everywhere. Like you can be surprised sometimes by what inspires you to draw and to try and create.
I know that the version count was your biggest obstacle, the biggest fear to overcome.
That's a tough one. I think for me, it's always a case of I have an idea in my head, and the biggest hurdle for me is always like to get it out of my head and to translate it either onto paper or to like digitally, and to be satisfied with it. Like there's always the danger of overworking something and like adding too much detail or not adding enough detail, and kind of knowing when you need to stop and when you need to keep going, and like sometimes you just have to start over and like rethink it and redo it. And yeah, so it's always that the struggle is for me personally is to get what's in here onto like screen or onto paper. That's my biggest thing. And usually it's like to get over that, it's sometimes you get the initial ideas down, and if it's not working, just to like leave it alone, take a break from it, and then come back, try it again. Or you go and you look for like other kind of ways of doing it. So do a bit of research, look at how other people have done it, and then come back and try what you've kind of done research on, and then look at that. So that's, for me, is like always a big thing of from in here to on here.
I think for me it's probably discipline. Sometimes I'm too lazy to do the work that I should be doing, and just sitting down and drawing and keeping at it. And then my other challenge is I would start drawing something and be very excited about it and keep drawing, and then I would kind of lose interest and get a little bit bored with it, and I would just leave it. I have far more unfinished drawings than actually finished ones. So for me, that is, I would say, like my biggest challenge is to actually finish my stuff and not get too bogged down in the details of what I want to draw and what I don't want to draw, and just go for it.
Last question, any advice for upside artists or artists who feel they're struggling but just want to get better and improve themselves in these skills?
Practice. Just practice. Don't throw away your old drawings. That's the way that you know that you've grown as an artist, is if you look at what you're doing now versus what you have done before. Because there's a lot of people who they'll draw and keep a sketchbook and an actual physical sketchbook, because you can do a lot of work digitally, but you often can just delete files, and then you kind of lose track of your own progress. So, if you feel like you're struggling, you at least have something tangible that you can physically go back to and kind of oh, this is where I came from and this is where I'm going to now, and you can see your own progress. If you feel like you're struggling, and it's just, keep physical copies of all the work that you've done. And when you're getting a bit down on yourself, you can see your own progress. It's there, tangible forms.
Yeah, I would say also, I'm with Danielle on this, practice. That is the most important element to it. Talent takes you so far, the rest is practice. If there's something you're bad at, some people are bad at drawing faces, or I used to be bad at drawing hands and feet. Draw specifically those things, practice them, and you will get better. A lot of artists or aspiring artists think they need expensive equipment to do this. It's not true whatsoever. Normal A4, copying paper with a ballpoint pen is all you need to make incredible art. You don't need to spend money on it. You can do it on the cheap. But yeah, practice, and the other thing is learn how to use your eyes. Learn how to look at things and analyze them and see them as shapes and forms and light and shadow. Don't draw an eye the way you think an eye should look like. Just actually look and understand they come in different forms, different shapes. And yeah.
I mean, on that point, if you're drawing biological things, so if you're drawing a face or you're drawing animals even, it's good to understand the anatomy behind everything, so you know why light falls on something in a certain way. If you're doing for example, if you're doing photorealistic kind of stuff, try to work as much from real life, but definitely go to anatomy textbooks and look deeper than skin, beyond what's on the surface, and understand why certain bulges are in certain places. Is because there's muscle underneath, and it just forms a certain shape from if your arm is like this to when it's straight. Your arm doesn't. We're not Barbie dolls. We don't maintain a certain cylinder form. So with anatomy, there's stuff like that. If you understand how the body works, then you'll be much better at drawing from memory, for example.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Anatomy books definitely help, because you do need to understand how things work. For me also, when I was younger, I wanted to be able to get a lot better at drawing human bodies, because that's kind of, when it comes to comics, you end up drawing that a lot, and you can't sit and search for reference for every single panel that you want to draw. So you need to understand how it works. And you can look at magazines, you can look online for references and work that out. But for me, when I was younger, it might sound weird, but I would go to the beach and look at the way people moved on the beach, standing up, sitting down, moving around, because you start to understand how the body is put together, how it works, how it functions, and you get to understand body language. So, understanding and learning how to use your eyes. And those are very important.
Yeah, and you'll see the artists who are really enjoy drawing things like mechs and stuff, from Gundam to
Masamune Shirow, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, people who like drawing robots, you'll find that they often have a an interest in engineering, so they understand how machines work, and that also helps them understand how to draw robots and how to draw mechs and or how to draw all of that stuff. So having a deep understanding of what you're trying to draw just helps you.